Welcome to the Monday, April 18th, regular business board meeting of the Board of School Directors. I will now turn the meeting over to Mr. Copeland.
Good evening, everyone. We have a number of presentations this evening. The first one is, as we do every month, Celebrate a School. It's Welsh Valley Middle School night. Our principal, Mr. Hall, is not able to join us because one of his children is getting the Nobel Prize for something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he said it was really important, so I have to assume that's what it is. However, Assistant Principal Sarah Stout, I know you will do a great job, so it's all yours.
Thanks. Good evening, and I'm really glad everyone's so excited to hear about Welsh Valley. Thank you all for coming out. I really appreciate it. Thank you. We really think it's a great place also. All right. So I'm here to tell you a little bit about Welsh Valley and what's happening. We have many great things going on at Welsh Valley. One of the most exciting being our new building, the G building that's open. If you haven't had a chance to stop by and visit, it's a really beautiful building. It encloses the back of the campus, and it's a great space. Students are really enjoying learning there. Tonight I'm going to talk a little bit about what educator jargon titles positive behavior system, but it's what we like to call our social emotional learning program. So I just want to talk a little bit about that this evening. As a middle school educator, I can tell you the best thing about middle school is constantly trying to find that balance between academic learning and social emotional growth. And it is what makes my job so fun every day. Truly, honestly. And so, keeping that eye on that prize that you need to do all of those things, academic, social, and emotional growth, and all of those things. And I know we do a great job with our academic programs. Tonight I'm just going to talk about the social emotional growth aspect of it. So we know that unless our students feel physically and emotionally safe, respected and appreciated, and a sense of belonging, and I think that's especially poignant this evening, it's really important that we focus on those things, because unless we focus on the sense of belonging and being safe, that doesn't happen, the academic, social, and emotional growth. A middle schooler, anybody, but especially a middle schooler, is a lot like an iceberg. We only see what's above the water. We only see that little bit. And at schools, that's where we tend to focus, is on the IQ. But it's really important, especially at the middle level, as students are developing who they are as individuals, as people, to focus on the EQ. So the way we do that at Welsh Valley is we focus on certain core competencies around the area of social emotional learning. These concepts, self-awareness, self-management, relationship skills, are the foundations that we build on in our forum program. And so we've had a number of different programs at Welsh Valley through the years. We've called them the Way to Be, Character and Citizenship, Forum, and what we found out from our staff and our students are that we really needed to frame our focus and hone in on exactly what we were attempting to do. So we had our teachers give us some feedback about what behaviors did they want the students to demonstrate? What areas of social and emotional learning would be critical for us to focus on? And what we realized is that we already have sort of an umbrella. We have this thing that we call Forum, and it's a program we run on Wednesdays, and it's our advisory program, and we focus on the idea of character, citizenship, respect, and responsibility. And we have a group of teachers that work to design lessons that focus on these things. And we realize that if we are purposeful and with intent in recognizing and clarifying how everything we're doing in the social emotional realm really falls under this umbrella forum, it's going to be a lot clearer for our kids, and really that's the goal that we want. So as with everything that we do in teaching, social, emotional, or academic, we focus on teaching, modeling, and reinforcing. And so that same model applies to what we're doing here. The first is teaching, and so in a very direct way, we teach the students through Forum by specifically designed lessons. So these are the examples of the lessons that we taught this year: community building, service learning, resilience, etc., in direct instruction. The second thing we do is we model, and so we've done this in a couple of ways this year. The first is that we've helped our teachers to understand the idea of growth mindset, and we've read mindset. We've talked about it. We talk about it in teams and PLCs as a faculty, etc. The second thing we continue to model by celebrating our teachers, and this is something exciting that I wish to announce. This is Frances Weaver, who's one of our wonderful social studies teacher, and she is actually a finalist for the Teaching Tolerance Organization, her Excellence in Teaching Award. So this has to do with her bringing in ideas into her social studies classroom around the idea of tolerance, understanding, growth, respect, etc. She does such a great job of it. She was recognized at the national level for it. And so, leaning on our excellent teachers, Frances being one of them, to model in the classroom those ideas that we want the students to take away with. Another something I'm excited to announce tonight, we've been recognized again as a mix-it-up model school. This is again through the Teaching Tolerance Organization and through the activities that we do at lunch to have the students mix it up. It's called Mix It Up Day. It's a really important thing. Have students in a safe way get out of their comfort zone, sit at a different table, and learn something new about their classmates. So again, we're recognized on a national level for that activity. I love this quote: "The children have never been very good at listening to their elders, but they have never failed to imitate them." Sorry. Sorry about that. But I think that's such a key thing. And so as we model, we really know that is very important. And then the final thing we do is we reinforce. And so we're working with our sixth graders to try something a little bit new this year. Under the umbrella of Forum, we have for many years recognized individual students for doing a great job by rewarding them with what's called a Dragon Pride Award. An adult in the building nominates you when they see you doing something great that falls in that category of respect, responsibility, character, or citizenship. Starting this year in the marking period 4 with our sixth graders, we want to make sure that we have sort of an approach that we're not missing anybody, because when you have a program where your recognition depends on someone else recognizing you, it's possible that you have students who are doing great and wonderful things all the time, but they're flying just sort of under that radar and they're not being recognized. So we wanted to address that. So in marking period 4 with our sixth graders, we've started something we're going to call Dragon Fire. And so again, under those categories, the 4 categories of Forum, we don't want this to be hard. We want 100% of the students to earn this recognition. So under the idea of character, it's the idea of your behavior, not having any office referrals, any bus referrals, etc., that you're doing a good job in that area. The second area being respect, showing respect to the people around you. Again, that's going to be reflective of your behavior and not having any misbehavior. Your responsibility, so 80% or above in all classes, which is a very attainable thing. Also, 0 unexcused absences. So remember to hand in those absence notes, right? That's an important thing as well. And then citizenship is being involved in some way, in some aspect of the school, whether you're staying after school for a club or you're participating. Like right now, we have a musical instrument collection going on, a canned food drive, there's a very large list of opportunities for the students to do something in the area of citizenship. And so it's the idea of encouraging students to develop themselves in those four columns. So that's what we're up to at Welsh Valley. We feel pretty good about keeping our eye on the prize, making sure we're helping students develop in those areas of academic, social, and emotional growth. We're going to keep them safe, and we're going to continue to push them to the best extent that we can. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Great presentation. Questions for the board?
Can I just make a comment?
Yes.
Just thank you for the presentation, and having had a lot of experience with Welsh Valley now, it's really this whole way that you care for the kids and the staff and administrators, it really comes through, and the kids feel it and the parents feel it, and thank you for all your work.
Well, I think that's the best compliment you could give us, so thank you. Thank you.
We'll let Mr. Hall know you did a great job. Our next presentation is the 2016-17 proposed final budget. This is still not the last chance that the board will have to weigh in on the budget process. But we are at that point in the budget calendar. So, Mr. Orlando?
Okay. Well, thank you. As Mr. Copeland stated, this is the proposed final budget for the upcoming school year. So let me just kind of go over the budget schedule. The preliminary budget was approved on January 25th to be in compliance with Act 1, which had to be done by January 27th. The governor proposed his 16-17 budget on February 9th. All bets are off. I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen since it took so long to get the 15-16 somewhat resolved. We still have a couple things left, but we'll see what happens with that. The board did approve the school district to apply for exceptions to Act 1. They were approved by PD on March 2nd. So that leads us to two different, the final two steps, a proposed final budget approval, which is on this evening, and then there's a final budget approval and adoption on June 13th. The board at any point in time up to the June 13th vote can change the budget. Just kind of give a brief overview of the revenues. You've seen this in the past. With the tax increase, you can see the vast majority of the revenues come from real estate taxes. Most of the other figures did not change as the growth has pretty much been stagnant in the revenues. Stateside. So right now, the latest on the 15-16 budget, it did come into existence. However, the fiscal code was vetoed by the governor. The governor had proposed, I guess a week or so ago, his proposal on how to distribute the 15-16 funds. The legislative body didn't like it, so they proposed House Bill 1589, and the governor has until Sunday to approve it, veto it. If he does nothing, it'll become law. So we'll possibly could have some more definitive numbers as far as the state budget goes. As far as the 16-17 proposal by the governor, it does calls for numerous increase in taxes. I don't know if that's going to happen, so we can't really put a lot of, I guess the word I'm looking at, stake in what he's proposing. So we shall see what happens. If you see the one line where it says state property tax reduction allocation, it is blank. This past Friday, April 15th, the Secretary of Budget was supposed to announce if there would be a distribution. I haven't heard anything yet on that. I'm assuming there will be an announcement sometime later this week. If that does occur, in May we will find out what our allocation is, and that number will be populated at that time. It's been pretty consistent around that 3.4 to 3.5 since the existence. Federal revenues are the same, so that we have a total revenue with the $9.3 million of assigned fund balance as revenue at $258,934,268. Looking at the expenses, you can see the vast majority of our expenses is salaries and benefits. That makes up over 75% of the budget. The other items make up about $59 million. The vast majority is debt service, which is $28 million. And then we have another $31 million that is for other items such as tuition to charter schools, insurance, special ed services, and contracted services. The vast majority of that is pretty much fixed. There's about $11 million of that $59 million, which I call variable or controllable. So you're talking about buying textbooks, buying supplies, and buying equipment and computers. So when you balance those two numbers, we have a shortfall of $8.8 million. It will call for a 4.44% increase in the millage rate. So what is driving the budget? I'm sure the last few years you've seen the enrollment growth. In the last 10 years, the enrollment here at Lower Merion has increased over 20%. Over that period, that is the highest of any school in Montgomery County experiencing growth. The Montgomery County Planning Commission report does call, I believe, in 25 to potentially be 9,800 students, up from the 8,300 students that we currently have. So that means there's more teachers, there's more books, there's more computers that we need to provide for the students, which will increase our salaries and also what's in our collective bargaining agreements. You probably heard in the news about pension reform and the pension. So the retirement contribution is currently at 25.84%. So every dollar that we pay, there's an expense of over 25 cents for the pension. That will increase 16% to 30.03% for the upcoming year. That's that 16% increase. we talked about this before, special education program mandates. We're required to comply with those. We receive very little state funding, just over $2.8 million on roughly about a $46 million budget for special education programs. Revenue is stagnant, and again, uncertainty with the state and the federal funding. So as of the proposed final budget, if you have a medium home household assessment of just over $250,000, right now the increase at face would be $292. So that's kind of where we're at with the proposed final budget. I'll gladly answer any questions.
Questions from the board? Please.
Thank you, Vic. Could you go back to your slide number 4?
Okay.
That one, yeah. I'm sorry, no.
Oh, 1.5.
It's
Here we go.
that one. So for the state property tax reduction allocation, is that 0 in that?
That is 0 right now. We do, the Secretary of Budget has not declared there would be a distribution. That was
So-
supposed to occur on Friday. I haven't seen anything yet.
So assuming we get $3 million,
Correct.
would that
3.4.
249 jump up to 252, or did you already kind of estimate?
No,
it?
what will happen is it will reduce the local sources by the
Okay.
3.4 and go to the state. So you'll see a reduction in the local and increase in the state. So basically it's a wash.
It's a no wash. Thank you.
Please.
Also on state funding, are there any macro impacts of the ongoing uncertainty around budgeting in Pennsylvania that are impacting us beyond some of these, line items?
Not right now. For us, no. I wouldn't say there would be any really dramatic impacts.
And so
I
it
mean, we
doesn't-
don't get, if you look at us compared to a lot of other school districts, we do not receive a lot of state sources. Never have and probably unfortunately never will, but that's just the way the formula is.
and it doesn't impact.
Just being honest, just being
Right.
honest.
It doesn't impact our cost of borrowing in any way.
It does not. The only thing it does impact could be some of the investments that we do, so they don't have the funds, I'm using other funds, so it has impact a little bit as far as some of the philosophies, maybe we've done a little bit with investing to some degree. I can't maybe go out a little bit longer on an investment, which I may lose, 20 or 30 basis points. So it has probably affected our interest income.
So we may have to approve this before the state finalizes.
I would believe you probably will,
Yes, okay.
based upon what's happened the last few years.
Please.
Thanks, Vic. Has the budget changed since have there been any changes since the preliminary budget that we passed in January?
There hasn't been total changes. There's been some changes maybe in between some categories once we looked at it for proper accounting, but the bottom line hasn't changed.
Okay.
We're still refining the budget. So for instance, one of the things you'll hear tonight when we do the HR is that we've eliminated 2 positions in the central office. And those 2 positions are where the funds will be redirected to our committee on the achievement imperative, if that's the kind of,
No, we just constantly talk about how it's not the final budget, it's not the final budget, there's always possibility for cuts, but the bottom line is the same, right?
at this point, we're not recommending any.
Additional questions? Please, Mr. Driscoll.
Vic, one last question.
Yeah, go ahead.
In the newspapers, there'd been, other school districts had to borrow money until the budget had passed.
Correct.
How did we fare through that? Did we have to borrow money to get
We did not have
through?
to borrow monies. We used our reserve that we had in our fund balance to get us over this.
So having a healthy fund balance in this case helped us out?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Orlando. We've had a number of meetings related to the budget, finance meetings, as well as our full board and business meetings. And just to reiterate some of Mr. Orlando's and Mr. Copeland's points around the commitment to our core values as a district, this budget certainly reflects our commitment to low class size, high-quality teachers, state-of-the-art facilities, and making sure that our students are well-educated and provided with the resources that they deserve. So this budget certainly reflects that. So again, I want to thank the administration for due diligence and the board as well. At this time, we will have, do we have presentations and honors?
I think we're going to do audience.
Okay, okay, we'll have audience recognition on agenda items only. If you are interested in providing public comment at this time, if you would please sign in with Mr. Orlando. There's a 3-minute time limit. If you could let us know your name and where you reside in the district. Is there anyone?
Yes, there are.
Okay,
We have a
thank
list.
you, please.
Howard Levinston. Okay, the next is Myra Ringgold and Grace Monahan and Janice Usher. If you'd like to line up so we can.
Good evening. My name is Howard Levinson. I'm a resident of Penn Valley. I understand there is an agenda item this evening in support of the rights of transgender individuals. I support such a policy. This is a simple issue from a policy standpoint. Let transgender people be who they want to be. If individuals embrace and identify with a gender preference different from that shown on their birth certificate, then we should respect that choice and treat them with respect based on the preference they have chosen. Any other policy is discriminatory and contrary to promoting and furthering the education of all children. Thank you.
Maya Ringgold and Grace Monahan. Then after that would be Janice Usher.
In your policy, it states that school staff must ensure that students are provided with a safe school environment that is free of discrimination, harassment, bullying, and/or intimidation.
School should be a safe place for kids. With this policy, the Lower Merion School District will be a place where kids can be accepted for who they are.
Hi, I am Maya Ringgold. I am a 5th grader at Kinwood Elementary School.
Hi, I am Grace Monahan. I am a 5th grader at Kinwood Elementary School also.
We are very supportive of the LGBTQ and GET community.
And want you to go forward with your new transgender policy. It will help encourage other school districts to have a transgender policy too.
It is a very positive policy and will help the transgender community.
We hope you do not disagree with us. This is something that needs to be dealt with in many communities.
The bathrooms are a huge problem in the transgender community. The HB2 law, for example, in North Carolina states that you have to use the bathroom based on your gender assigned at birth.
Speaking of the bathroom problems, transgender 6-year-old Coy Mathis's school made a big fuss about the bathrooms. Coy was told that since she was biologically a boy, she could only use the boys' bathroom. They put up a petition, and the school gave Coy 3 options: the boys' room, the staff bathroom with only adults, or the nurse's bathroom, which is used by sick children. Coy is not sick, she is not an adult, and she is not a boy. They never let up, and Coy eventually just switched schools to start a new life. It was very important to Coy that people saw her as who she felt she was.
Kids who are transgender sometimes have parents who are not supportive. Jazz Jennings, a 15-year-old transgender teenager, has very supportive parents and family. Jazz told her parents she was transgender 10 years ago. She was one of the youngest transgender kids at the time. She was only 5 years old. Jazz and her family are great role models, but many transgender kids are not so lucky. Transgender kids with unsupportive parents can live a difficult life. School can be a place where everyone can be accepted. 41% of the known transgender community commits suicide or thinks about it, compared with 4.6% of the general public. The numbers came from a study by the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and the Williams Institute. The impact of this policy will last beyond high school for transgender students.
It's really hard for some kids to live with themselves if they think that their parents don't approve of them. Sometimes they hide their transgender because of what their parents may think. If this policy is passed, then these kids can at least have worry-free days at school.
This policy will help keep kids safe in the Lower Merion School District no matter who you are. Many kids do not accept other transgender kids, and this is where the bullying comes in. This is where you come in. We need your help to support the kids who need it most.
Janice Asher. Next up after that would be Michelle Kaplan, and then Jamie Gordon.
I'm Janice Asher. I live in Bryn Mawr, and I can't be nearly so eloquent as you girls were about supporting this policy, but I do want to support it. I'm a physician at the Student Health Service at the University of Pennsylvania. So we see your kids when they come to college, and these trans kids have not come from a childhood of emotional or physical safety. They have already had way more than their share of physical violence meted out against them, sexual assault, and as the girls told us, much higher risk of suicide attempts. So there's so much we can do and need to do to learn ourselves and teach our children about kindness, inclusion, and physical and emotional safety. Thank you.
I'm Michelle Chaplin. I was a school principal for 25 years in 3 different districts, not Lower Merion. And I am a Lower Merion resident in Penn Valley, and I'm a former full-time Temple professor in educational leadership. Having had this background, I know for a fact that it is crucial that students from kindergarten through 12th grade feel supported, have emotional and physical safety when they come to school. This policy, I've read it, it does that, and I applaud it, and I thank you for producing it. I'd like to also give a statement from Karen Chirwani, who's a commissioner from the Lower Merion Human Relations Commission who could not be here tonight. She said, since 2010, Lower Merion passed an ordinance prohibiting LBGT discrimination in employment, housing, and public accommodations. Besides Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, Lower Merion was one of the first townships to pass this legislation and has served as a model for other townships. The Lower Merion School District gender policy is an important way to support these efforts, and we applaud them for doing so. Thank you.
Jamie Gordon, Ruth Munsky, and Adrian Moss.
Good evening. My name's Jamie Gordon, and I'm a resident of Ballackinwood, and I'm reading this statement on behalf of another Lower Merion parent. Good evening, Lower Merion School Board and neighbors, and thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts on Policy 259. I am the parent of an elementary school child who was mistakenly assigned female at birth by doctors and society. He is healthy and thriving several years after his transition to his true gender. I would like to be delivering these words to you myself, as I have immense pride in my child and our family. Unfortunately, although things are changing, I must still be careful to protect my child's privacy and safety. So I've asked a friend to read this on our family's behalf. It's my hope that in the not too distant future, gender non-conforming children and their families will have no reason to fear repercussions for speaking publicly. When my child transitioned 2 years ago, there was no policy in our district regarding things we would have to deal with to ensure my child received an educational experience equal to that of his peers. The situation was new to everyone at our school, myself included. I'm indebted to the school and the district for addressing our situation directly, respectfully, and effectively. Because of Lower Merion School District's responsiveness and compassion, my child has been able to attend school feeling safe, supported, and as much as possible, no different from his classmates. That, of course, is the treatment that every single student in our district deserves. And I was extremely impressed by the team's ability to quickly resolve the issues for which there was not yet a guiding policy. We are fortunate to live in Lower Merion. All across this country, families like mine live in fear every time their child leaves for school. My son's gender non-conforming friends in other states are terrified to use the bathrooms at school, are misgendered by their teachers, and are bullied on the school bus. They face years of self-doubt, terror, and a less than equal education because their gender identity is not understood or respected by their schools. And this treatment by society contributes to horrifying statistics about suicide attempts in the GET community. With Policy 259 in place in Lower Merion, I and other parents of these incredibly self-aware kids who refuse to give up on being who they are because it isn't easy will breathe easier as parents. Policy 259 will mean greater social acceptance and inclusion of GET students and people in Lower Merion. It will afford them the dignity, respect, and education they deserve. It will teach all of our kids and teachers about compassion, equality, acceptance, and mutual respect. I'm proud to be a member of a school community that has prioritized equalizing the rights of all students in our district, and I thank you in advance for adopting into policy this forward-thinking and necessary strategy. Thank you.
Ruth Munsky, Adrian Moss, Mia Carpinello.
My name is Ruth Monsky, and I'm a resident of Ballackinwood. And I was very happy to hear the Vice Principal of Welsh Valley explain and say exactly what this policy means in many ways, because she talked about teaching tolerance to children. She talked about academic, social, and emotional growth. And I think the policy 259 applies to just that: character, citizenship, and responsibility. Thank you.
My name is Adrienne Moss. I'm a resident of Bryn Mawr. I don't have prepared remarks. I wanted to be here to let the board know and others in my community know how proud I am to live in a district that is going to be implementing a policy that is necessary for our children, all children, to feel safe and secure and supported in our school district. I am the parent of a second grader at Gladwin and a seventh grader at Welsh Valley. And again, I am just very proud and very pleased that my children will be growing up in a district that is accepting and supportive of all children, and that is what they will be learning from day one. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Mia Carpinello. I'm a resident of Marion Station. I'm also a parent of 2 children at Kinwood Elementary and an aunt of 2 children at Ballackinwood Middle School. And I've read Policy 529 pretty carefully because I care a lot about these issues. And I found it to be incredibly comprehensive and compassionate. And for me, it's really valuable and important for me to teach my kids to be true to themselves. And I think most parents feel that way. And in teaching them to be authentic to who they are, it also means respecting whoever other people are and however their peers and their friends and their classmates choose to identify and express themselves. And so I too, when this policy passes, will be incredibly proud to live in a community that shares that value and in a school district that recognizes the inherent worth and dignity of every child. Thank you.
Nancy Peterson, Cheryl Masterman, Debbie Wilson-Leslie, and Jennifer Sherman.
Hi, good evening. I'm Nancy Peterson, and I live in Lower Merion, in Marion Station, and I actually don't have children who are in the public school right now. However, I wanted to come and indicate I think this is more than just a district issue, it's a community issue. So even though my children are in private school, I think this is important. I wanted to make sure you heard from me as well. So thank you very much.
It's hard when you're in the back. Hi, I'm Cheryl Masterman, and I live in Villanova. I see this policy 259 really as more of a formality, because I have seen that the student body at Lower Merion and the faculty have all been very accepting and have done a very good job with the transgender community. The only thing that I wanted to throw out there is that I think it would be wonderful to also include experts to come and to educate the parents in the community. Because I really feel that parents are in a place where they're questioning and not sure what to do. And when you get to the teen population, it's like, what do you do with sleepovers? What do you do with, I mean, there's just a lot of things that parents would love to be able to discuss, and forums would be fabulous. Thanks.
Good evening. Some members of the board know me. Oh, my name's Debbie Wilson Leslie, resident of Ballackinwood. Some members of the board know me as an elementary school counselor. I'm also a parent of 2 Lower Merion High School teens. I often ask them for their read on the school's culture and climate, and have been assured that they feel safe and secure. But sadly, that's not the case for all of the children in our schools. About a year ago, my child called me to the computer to show me a conversation of friends engaged in a group chat. My child was panicked because a friend was threatening suicide. This friend had recently decided to share with their social group and family that they were gay. The news had been unexpected and not entirely well received. Fortunately, we were in a position to intervene and be supportive, and the friend is currently doing well. This quick story may seem out of the norm for Lower Merion, but it is in line with the simple but alarming fact. In the USA, the general population suicide rate is just 4.6%, but the rate of suicide for gender expansive and transgender people is more than 41%. When you look at policy 259, there may be naysayers, but research has been done. In 17 school districts with gender expansive and transgender policies, with over 600,000 students, there have been 0 incidences of transgender people exposing themselves in a school bathroom. As a school community, we are obligated to create schools where all of the children feel safe and welcome. In fact, that's the title of the conference held annually at Arcadia University. Last year, Dr. Graciela Slawarsky-Poe spoke at the conference. She listed 4 basic indicators of safe and welcoming schools as follows: the presence of adult allies, we got that, a climate that supports sociocultural identities, curricular examples that represent diverse sociocultural identities, and policies and practices that support transgender and gender expansive individuals. Policy 259 is a great step in creating safe and welcoming schools for most of our most vulnerable students. Thank you for supporting not only this policy, but all of the work ahead toward protecting gender expansive and transgender students.
Jennifer Sherman.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Sherman, and I live in Wynwood. I just want to applaud the district for implementing a policy that is going to provide protection and security to the gender expansive and transgender community. I believe that this policy not only is beneficial to the gender expansive and transgender community, but also to the general population, because it's going to create harmony. And again, I just want to thank the district.
Amanda Swasbrick, Sheehan Joseph, Sue Endy, Dor Nathans, and Seth Freudberg.
Good evening. My name is Sheehan Joseph. I live in Marion Station, and I have 2 children that are currently attending Kinwood Elementary. I am a trauma psychotherapist of teenagers working in Philadelphia. Some of my clients are actually transitioning male to female and female to male. So I wanted to talk about Policy 529 just sort of from their perspective a little bit this evening. And just as a clinician, what I believe what this policy will do for those children, well, teenagers at this point, really. I feel that if some of my current clients attended schools with this policy in place, many of their feelings of sadness, of loneliness, and even their suicidal ideation could be lowered and perhaps even eliminated in some cases. I fully support this policy. I feel lucky to live in an area and be part of a school district that we're talking about these things. I did want to bring up too, and the woman brought it up just a few minutes ago, about the conversation encouraging about parents, because as a therapist, I can do all the therapy in the world with your child, but if children are going home to the same environment and some of those parents aren't understanding, then it really makes the job as the kid tough and my job tough. So I would just encourage that. I don't know if it's the school board's, where you would stand on encouraging parents to be part of the conversation, but I do think it's important, and I just wanted to add that. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Amanda Swarbrick. I live in Ballackinwood and have two children at Kinwood and a child in preschool. Everybody has already said what I could have said. I don't think I could say anything any better than what's been said, other than that I support this. In light of what's going on in the country right now and in North Carolina, I just wanted to be here to be able to voice my support and say how proud I am to be able to have children in a district that would pass a policy like this.
Hi, I'm Sue Endy, coming up on 40 years in our house in Wynwood. My kids graduated from Lower Merion High School a very long time ago. I'm a retired social worker, and I have worked in various shelters around the area with kids who are gay and or transitioning. And many of them end up on the street because their families don't want them at home. They're just summarily tossed out. And so I've had experience working with these kids. Who are they? They're just kids who just want to live their life and do the best they can with their own talents and abilities. So I really applaud this effort, and hooray for Lower Merion.
Hi, my name is Dora Nathans. I'm a student at Lower Merion High School, and this is Melanie Metz, a student at Harridan High School. I understand that tonight the board is considering a proposal to assess the opportunities and impacts of alternative bell schedules on transportation efficiency and cost effectiveness. I would like to tell you my experience as a Lower Merion High School student as it relates to this issue, specifically the very early high school start time. Every day when I get home from school, I make a very strong caffeinated coffee and take 2 Advil in order to get rid of my fatigue-related headache. I yawn continuously throughout the day, and I fall asleep in more classes than I'd like to admit. As a sophomore taking an AP class and deeply involved in 4 separate extracurricular activities, the energy I need to expend greatly outweighs the energy I have, and I blame this on school start times. Waking up at 6 a.m. and looking outside to see a pitch black sky is inhumane no matter who you are, but for teenagers, this lifestyle is especially detrimental. As I have learned in numerous classes, when we hit puberty, our circadian rhythms shift to favor a late to bed, late to rise lifestyle. And because of this, achieving the recommended 8.5-hour minimum would require us falling asleep at 9:30 p.m., which, as I can personally attest to, is difficult, if not impossible, for teenagers. The science is unambiguous. Early start times result in insufficient sleep for teenagers. My lack of sleep is taking a toll on me physically, mentally, and even emotionally. Physically, I often get stomach aches in addition to headaches, and the stomach aches notably stop when I get adequate sleep, such as during vacations. Mentally, I am not able to focus as well as I should, and it takes me longer to do my work, thus resulting in an even later bedtime. And emotionally, I have observed that sleep deprivation has given me anxiety and has made me more stressed out than I would be otherwise. Finally, as someone who falls asleep on the bus ride to school, I am scared to begin driving next year. I used to think that maybe the reason the district wouldn't change start times was because other students weren't struggling as much as I was. But last June, students at both high schools took a survey regarding sleep deprivation. I received permission to see the survey results, and they were deeply disturbing. The symptoms that I experience are commonplace. 17% of students said they fall asleep in class at least once a week. 64% said they have difficulty focusing in class because of sleep, and 43% said they nap after school at least once a week. What I thought was unique to me is sadly extremely normal for students. The solution to this problem is so clear, and any negative effects would be microscopic compared to the overall mental and physical health boost of the student body. I have been informed that in order to gauge students' opinions, the district surveyed student government representatives about changing the start times for midterms and finals week. Not only is this not a representative sample of the student body, but it is also an irrelevant question. During these mere 2 weeks of the entire school year, we get out of school at around 11:30, giving us an entire day to recover. As a student who is desperate for some relief, my question for all of you is, when will I, as a member of this community, actually see changes being made to this system?
a full 3 minutes? Okay, thank you. Let's think deeply about what it means to be moral or immoral. I'm sorry. I'm Seth Freudberg. I live in Wynwood. I have 2 children who are grown now, but both went to Lower Merion High School District. So let's think deeply about what it means to be moral or immoral. It's immoral for me to prohibit an African American person from drinking out of the same water fountain from which I drink, or to be verbally abusive or violent towards gay or transgender people. In a decent society, no one with a conscience can believe that such things are moral. I try to be compassionate in my life, and I expect others to be compassionate as well. However, if a person is born with male genitals, it's not inappropriate to think that he's a male, nor if a person is born with female genitals, is it wrong to refer to that person as she. To require that a child born with female genitals go to the girls' room, regardless of her self-perception, is not immoral. There are teachers who believe that a boy who thinks that he's a girl should not be referred to as she. They believe that the child is suffering from a delusion that should not be encouraged. They believe that it's unhealthy to encourage the child to pursue this delusion. There are teachers and tax-paying parents who feel passionate about school children being taught in an environment that supports mental health. They believe that promoting a child's confusion is neither safe nor supportive. Rather, they believe it's damaging and wrong. Are we really saying as a society that teachers should be punished for violating the school district's policy about using a child's preferred pronoun when referring to them? Suppose that a child is suffering from schizophrenia and hallucinates that he's Batman. Is it wrong of the teacher to decline to call him Batman despite his belief that he's Batman? Should the teacher be required to follow a district policy that mandates that teachers respect a child's superhero identity? Why is it less delusional for a boy to truly believe that he's a superhero than to truly believe that he's a female? In our society, a girl's bathroom has always been respected as a place of privacy from the opposite sex. Is it immoral for a female student to believe that her privacy should be respected to the extent that a biological male should not be permitted in her bathroom, despite what that person believes his gender to be? Are we actually saying that we will be taking that privacy right away from those students in order to accommodate the wishes of the transgender students? Why do the rights of the transgender children supersede the rights of the children who believe that their anatomy defines their sex? There's a 52-year-old married man with 7 children who lives in Canada who has now selected the name Stephanie Wolst for himself. He has left his family and joined another family who accept and encourage his belief that he is a 6-year-old girl. He addresses and comports himself as a 6-year-old girl. Should his school district be required to enroll him in the 2nd grade, refer to him as she, and require him to go to the girls' bathroom? Is the school district acting in a bigoted manner if they tell the man that he may not register as a female student in the 2nd grade because he's neither female nor 6 years old? If not, why not, if that's the way he identifies himself? Is the school district required to define people as they wish to be defined, even if it is contrary to the simple facts? Where does this all end? I hope I didn't offend anyone, but we do. I'm quite sure that I did, but I do feel that as citizens we have the right to say what we believe. And I do hope that I didn't offend anyone, nor do I hope that my comments were interpreted not to be compassionate, because I am very compassionate of the struggles of the children that are being described today. I feel very sad and sorry for them. I truly do. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And thank you for everyone's comments and support of Policy 259, which we'll talk about momentarily. Mr. Copeland wants to offer some words.
Yes, I wanted to also add my thanks to those folks who came up to the microphone. I think it's with note the number of people who spoke about the policy and got somewhat choked up because it's an emotional situation. You know, I know that because of Lower Merion and what it is, some might say, well, that's easy to do there. But I have to say that when the board was listening during policy committee to the folks who were putting it together, they didn't stop at just a simple policy. They said, we want a policy that's so good that others will adopt it. So I wanted to acknowledge Dr. Jean Stanley, who I see out there. Gene, are any of your policy band with you? Great job, much thanks, and much appreciation for the hard work and good work that you've done.
May I just give a couple of words, sorry, after the gentleman?
Okay, could you?
Yes. 1 minute.
Okay, if you could sign in with Mr. Orlando, and again, your name, where you reside in the district, and 3-minute limit.
Anybody else wants to come?
Hi, my name is Patricia Lucas. I'm a resident of Wynwood, and I don't have children in the public system. My kids go, my oldest goes to private school. But this is a matter like some of the other people. Sorry, I'm not very good on the public speaking. It seems that the children do better than me. This is a matter of a community. My 6-year-old had a conversation with me in the car, and he touched me because as a nurse, I have worked with people that has been at a very young nurse that I didn't understand. My first job, I worked in a plastic surgery where they were doing their changes. And I came to know some of these people. And on a ride back from school, how's your day? What happened? We started having a conversation about the differences, why some kids tease other kids. And she came up with a very good answer. Mom, but we are all human. Why we have to make other people's differences like something that denotes them, that when you're pointing to someone, you have to point their differences. There is just a girl or a boy. They're just humans. Like she was asking me, how do you know there is a girl or a boy when you're pregnant? Why would you want to know? You're going to love them anyway. When it comes to the design, the bathrooms, I have a son, and my daughter and my son take baths together. And we are sexualizing them to believe that because we have different genitalia, we shouldn't be in the same location. Growing up, my best friend was a boy. My privacy in the bathroom, my little chit chats will have been with a boy. So it wouldn't have been in the bathroom, it would have been in the corner because we didn't have that ability to go to the same bathroom. So I would love for my daughter to grow up in the community with other kids that understand tolerance. And as it was said at the beginning, they are not very good listeners, but they do imitate. So let's be the model for them to know that this is the right thing to do. I support the policy, and I think this is the right thing to do for all our kids, and this is our future. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. There will be opportunity for additional public comment if you so choose at the end of the meeting. At this time, we're going to move forward with the remaining agenda. I will now approve the minutes from the following Board of School Directors meetings: March 14th, regular board meeting; April 11th, Education Committee and Supplementary Board meeting; and accept the committee meeting minutes of the following meetings: March 16th, Communications; March 16th, Finance; March 30th, Legislative; April 4th, Curriculum; April 4th, Special Meeting of the Board, Open Work Session; April 8th, Policy; and April 14th, Facilities and Purchasing. Are there any questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We'll now have the superintendent update.
Yes, some good news. Welsh Valley Middle School was recently named a 2015-16, quote, Mix It Up at Lunch Day Model School by the Southern Poverty Law Center. Mix It Up at Lunch Day is a national campaign that encourages students to identify, question, and cross social boundaries, reduce biases and prejudices. Mix It Up model schools like Welsh Valley embrace respect and inclusiveness as core values. That was supposed to be news, but Mrs. Stout mentioned it first, so, and did a better job with it. So I'll move on. Several Lower Merion High School students earned top prizes in the annual Mordecai and Ilowitz Creative Arts Competition, sponsored by the Jewish Federation of Greater Philadelphia. Taylor Feld earned first prize in the 3D arts category, while Clarice Hansberry earned second prize and Asher Gilman was awarded third prize. Further, the NAM, the National Foundation of Music Merchants Foundation, has recognized Lower Merion School District for its outstanding commitment to music education with a Best Communities for Music Education designation for the 6th consecutive year. Lower Merion School District enjoys the distinguished ranks of 476 districts across the entire country to receive this prestigious distinction, and the board and administration had the opportunity to get a little taste of some future great musicians just before the meeting began, the Maestro Group. We're very proud of them. I'd also like to announce that one of our teachers, Megan Henry, who gave a presentation last month, is a Kinwood teacher. She is a finalist for Pennsylvania Teacher of the Year. Okay, so to Megan, it's game on. What do we need to do to make sure that you come out on top? And we're going to try and support her. So we're looking forward to that. Some announcements. Legislative Forum will be April 27th at 7 p.m. We'll have legislators here that we can engage in. I think it's at Lower Merion High School at the library. On April 4th, as Dr. Van Lynch said, the board had an open public work session on facilities. And there were a number of community members who came out, spoke about some of the facilities plans that we had. Many of the board members have questions. Back in January, I had met with our architects and said, you know, is there some possibility that we not have to move into some of the facilities renovations that we know we're going to need because of increased enrollment, but take a more a slower look at what that is, and maybe wait until we get further numbers in October and have the ability to actually go through some of the many opportunities that we have before we make a final decision. And I'm recommending that to the board as something we may do, which means there may not be a vote in May on the Penn win. That doesn't mean we don't don't know that we need to do some things, but we want some, it's my recommendation that we spend some extra time to take a look at that. That completes my report.
You're back.
Is it my turn?
HR, yep.
My turn again. Under Human Resources, the superintendent recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the attached Human Resources sections HR 1 through HR 8.
Are there any questions? Is there a motion to approve? There's second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
If I may?
Yes, please.
We have a number of administrators who were just appointed, and I'd like to introduce them to the board and the public. I'd like to start with Gwen Nardowitz, who is not new to the Lower Merion School District, but she'll be moving from her position as teacher to acting special education supervisor. Gwen? That was a quick speech, Gwen. Sign language, I guess. Okay.
Way to make a first impression. Thank you. It's been a real treat to serve in this district as an instructional assistant, as a special education teacher, as a coordinator, and now as a supervisor. And I'm confident that pulling all of the wealth of knowledge in the room, that collectively we can really serve our students well. So thank you.
Thank you. So I'd like to recognize Brian Cody. Brian served as Acting Director of Secondary Education. He's going to retain a director's position. We're actually going to be collapsing 2 positions in the central office and directing those funds to the Achievement Imperative curriculum. So welcome to your new position, Brian, who's going to be in charge of staff development and a bunch of other things.
I would like to thank the board and administration very much for this opportunity. I came to the district 4 years ago as a supervisor of instruction, leading the district's K-12 data analysis, as well as the business education and the technology integration at the secondary level. So quite a bit, and then transitioning to the interim director, as you heard Mr. Copeland. Learned a great deal through that transition, met a lot of very new people, great teachers, really enjoyed the work, and very fortunate to have this opportunity. I thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce 2 new principals to the district. We have the principal selection process. This is about, candidates spend about 9 hours on site. That means going through interviews with stakeholders, interviews with administrators. There are some on-site performance activities they have to do, a final interview with senior staff. We want it to be a rigorous process because we believe that working in Lower Merion is a rigorous but joyful experience. So our new principal of Gladwin Elementary School is Veronica Ehlers. Veronica, when we interviewed her at my level, I said, you know, she said she grew up in the area, and we went through the interview process, and she indicated she had children that went to Bala-Cynwyd Middle School and Lower Merion High School. And I said, well, you said you grew up in the area. Where did you live? She says, I went to Cynwyd Elementary School. I went to Bala-Cynwyd Middle School. I went to Lower Merion High School. She doesn't get out much. But we're very pleased to welcome her with 20-plus years from the Upper Darby School District. Veronica?
Bring that up a little bit. I really just want to thank everybody for the opportunity. It was definitely a grueling process. I have to say, though, that I have met the friendliest people along the way. I have felt welcomed, even through the stress of the process. I am so looking forward to being the next principal of Gladwin Elementary School, and I look forward to get started. Thank you.
Congratulations. Earlier this year, I asked the board to approve the appointment of the new assistant superintendent. That was Dr. Scott Everslag, who is currently the principal of Harriton High School. I thought it was a good idea. The board thought it was a good idea. The people at Harriton booed me for taking him away. And so filling his rather large shoes was an important task, and I think we've done a good job with that. Scott Weinstein is currently the principal, acting principal of Gladwin Elementary School. He's got a long career in secondary education, including stints at Bala-Cynwyd Middle School and Welsh Valley Middle School. We really look forward to Scott picking up the great work that Scott Everslag did and moving the school forward. Mr. Weinstein.
No pressure, Mr. Copeland. I wrote some things down. It's not like me, but there's some things that I made sure I didn't want to forget. I want to start with thank you, Mr. Copeland and the Board of School Directors. I'm truly grateful to be entrusted with the opportunity and responsibility to lead one of the nation's finest public high schools. I know I will not lead alone. I look in the back, I want to thank the administrative team for coming out and supporting me on day one. Mike Johnson, Patrick Hogan, Laura Marcuson, and I will need all of them for this work. I continue to also hear about how strong the staff is at Harriton, and I'm really excited to be joining their team. The last time I stood in front of you, I was presenting the highlights of Gladwin Elementary. And I want to take this opportunity to welcome and congratulate Veronica. Congratulations. You're joining a truly amazing school community with truly amazing staff and faculty. Many of them are here tonight to support you, amongst other things, for the night. So thank you for coming out. The last time I was an audience member, Dr. Everslag was being appointed as assistant superintendent. And during public comment, many parents came up and talked about the big shoes that are going to be left from Scott. And they said all the wonderful things about his leadership. And in short, it will be a tall task to replace Scott. I know those things to be true. He's a dynamic leader, and they gave a long list of why he's going to be tough to replace. And I thought to myself, as an audience member, wow, I wouldn't want to be the poor guy that replaces him. And then I thought, yes, I do. I really do. Congratulations to you, Scott. No one's more deserving. You're an outstanding educator. I'm proud and humbled to be following you, the great work you've done at Harriton, and I know we're also well positioned to move forward with greatness because of your leadership. So I'm really proud of that opportunity. Lastly, I want to thank everyone that showed up tonight for many reasons. I'm really proud to work in Lower Merion. Certainly the Gladwin staff, the Harriton administration team. We're going to be a great team. I'm looking forward to working with you all. And lastly, my wife, thank you for the many sacrifices you make to allow me to do this, raising two beautiful kids, and the many sacrifices you'll make in the future. To make sure they grow up with parents that are there. I love you. I appreciate you. You're awesome. She's also an educator, and I'm really proud of her. Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations again to our hires and our folks that are moving up and beyond. We welcome you, and we're thrilled to have you in this capacity. At this time, we will have, first I just want to offer condolences to the Tim family who lost Esther Tim, a former Penwyn Elementary School teacher. And now we will have the curriculum committee meeting update from Ms. Robinson.
Thank you, Dr. Van Lynch. The curriculum committee of the board met on April 4th, 2016 in this room, and we discussed textbook adoptions, 6th grade science with a 2017 copyright from McGraw-Hill. This is replacing a program that utilized multiple individual smaller unit texts and is 10 years old. It is aligned to the next generation standards. The new textbook also provides online access for students and parents to a digital ebook and has the capability of students to check their understanding of topics and homework through an online platform. The cost for 340 textbooks and 740 digital versions is $64,639. We have a 7th grade science book, also 2017 copyright from McGraw-Hill. Also replacing a 10-year-old version, and the cost is $64,639. 7th grade math, 2017 copyright from Pearson. This is replacing a former initiative of utilizing the CPM math program. The new program includes the digital ebook as well as opportunities for students and parents to review materials online. It builds on the 6th grade math curriculum adopted earlier this year. The cost of 740 consumable textbooks, including digital licenses for 6 years, is $58,051. The CPM program was completely inquiry-based, whereas the new text is a blended approach where the teacher is a facilitator of learning. We had also an 8th grade science text, 2014 copyright, from CPO Fry Scientific. It's replacing a 10-year-old edition, and the cost for 340 texts and 740 digital versions of the text are $34,092. Later, we had a presentation from, about Blackboard implementation from Brian Cody, Ashley Perry, Andy Sabari, and Laura Vogel. This was the topic of a meeting that we held last Monday. If anybody's interested, they can view the actual online version of it by going to lmsd.org and looking at the videos. We also received a presentation update of the strategic plan from Megan Schaefer, Scott Eveslog, and Christina Paul, which is also part of that video from last week. So you can go and visit that. We had a contract review for True North Logic agreement, $24,514 for March 2016 through 2017. It's an annual contract renewal, which involves our performance management suite. And finally, we had a contract review of SunGuard K-12 Education Performance Plus, $29,258, 12-month renewal for June through May 2017. Annual renewal of a contract relating to Performance Plus and Performance Tracker software that we've been using since 2008. The next curriculum committee meeting, which will be led by Melissa Gilbert, thank you, will take place on May 2nd.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson, for taking over for me when I had a work commitment. Thank you.
I'd like to recommend, if there are no objections, items B through H to take all in one motion. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the attached overnight field trips for Bala-Cynwyd Middle School and Harridan High School. Further, the administration recommends the Board of School Directors approves the attached True North Logic annual licensing agreement to provide the portal and performance management suite, including SLO management, in the amount of $25,514 for the term of March 17th, 2016 through 2017. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the attached renewal agreement with SunGuard K-12 Education for use of Performance Plus in the amount of $29,258.67 from June 1st, 2016 to May 31st, 2017. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approve the attached proposal for the purchase of life science textbooks for use in 7th grade science in the amount of $64,639. The administration recommends that the board approves the attached proposal for the purchase of Envision Math 2.0 Common Core Grade 7 for use in 7th grade math in the amount of $58,051. The administration further recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the attached proposal for the purchase of Foundations of Physical Science for 8th grade science in the amount of $34,092.78. And finally, the administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the attached proposal for the purchase of Earth and Space Science for 6th grade science in the amount of $64,639.46.
Thank you. Are there questions? I have a question. I know we are ordering some paper textbooks. Do we have a sense of how many we might need in terms of some of these courses?
You mean disposables?
Right. Well, I know, so most of these are online programs, correct? Right, Ms. Robinson? I apologize, I wasn't at the curriculum meeting. Okay, so you said 40 for, is that the average number?
340.
340, okay.
340 texts and 740 digital versions.
Okay, excellent. So we're confident then that students who may not be comfortable with the online version solely will have access to a written text or to a bound text. Okay.
We'll have a full class set.
Excellent, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Under Student Services, the administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the Educational Services Agreements SS1 through SS5. And the further recommends the Board of School Directors approves the attached Lincoln Center Agreement in the amount of $153,000 to provide 2 master-level teach counselors for the term September 2016 to June 2017.
There questions? Is there a motion to approve? So moved. There's second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We will now have the report of the Facilities and Purchasing Committee by Mr. Driscoll.
Thank you. We met this past Thursday, April 14th, and we reviewed and approved the list of bills. We then went on and reviewed and approved the purchasing report, includes 6 items. First item is to purchase security systems from I2 Security Solutions for $8,167.45. These are for the DAO construction, as we'll need secure doors as students begin to use this building. We also use the building more than they currently are, actually. We also approved purchase wood cabinetry for science laboratories from Reed Associates for $338,200. We will need these to have these in place by fall. We're having 5 new science labs to accommodate our growing enrollment. These cabinets are used to house chemicals and apparatus that are unique to a science laboratory. We also approved a general construction contract with S.J. Thomas for $3,990,000 for materials and labor to renovate the DAO with the 16 new classrooms on the 2nd and 3rd floors. And finally, we approved a contract with Tri-M for $357,900 to provide building automated systems for the DAO. These control our HVAC. All those 4 are all for DAO construction, slated to begin hopefully in May, and the total cost was $4,694,267.45. We then had 2 additional items, a contract with S.J. Thomas for $29,819.52 to install bus block heaters at Harridan. On very, very cold days, some days our buses don't start, which causes us to run around and scramble to get buses. So we've bought heaters to warm them up so they will start and we can get our fleet out on time, which is extremely important. We also approved a second services contract with S.J. Thomas for $14,200 for labor to install the improved cell service equipment at Penn Valley. We had approved additional equipment at Penn Valley either last month or the month before, and this is a contract to actually have it installed. The cells coverage in some of our buildings is not so good. We then reviewed and approved a contract with Nicholas Severini to lease Lower Marion High School facilities for 4 days in early July for $600. Mr. Severini has been running this soccer camp for several years now, and it provides a positive summer experience for many students in Lower Marion and Narberth. We then reviewed and approved a contract with Accordware to license Benefit Express to the district for the next 3 years. The district had licensed another product, but that product had not provided the functionality we were hoping for, and the Benefit Express product will be licensed to the district today, if approved, will be for substantially less than our current vendor. We then reviewed and approved a contract with Archive 360 for $13,500 for software to move our existing archived emails over to the new servers we recently purchased, and those servers were nearing the end of their useful life, so we need to move the email over to these new servers, and this will assist us in that. We then approved the 6 contracts. I won't go over them again. The SunGuard, the True North, and the Lincoln Center, as well as the textbooks that Ms. Robinson went over, so I will not belabor, but we reviewed them again. We then reviewed and approved an amendment to the Barry Izett Master Services Agreement. This agreement merely adjusts the company's rates that have not changed since 2011. If work is needed from them in the near future, we will negotiate an individual work order for the specific projects at the rates that we in this amendment. We then reviewed and approved a contract with school bus consultants for $14,450. In response to requests for proposals, SBC provided a lower cost than another vendor. In addition, SBC has experience in assisting districts in changing their start times, whereas the other vendor did not. The initial proposal is to determine what changes would be needed to our bus fleet if we flipped the elementary and high school start times. Middle school would stay the same. A large part of this work will obviously be in information gathering, so that if we propose additional scenarios, moving start time for just high school or et cetera, we'll at least have some baseline data collected. I want to emphasize that no decisions are being made to change school buses' schedules or start times today. We're conducting due diligence, that's what this report will be for, to learn what, if any, options are available to the district to fulfill our strategic plan. We then received information on construction projects. We are still trying to close out Welsh Valley, Penn Valley, and Gladwin Elementary. We also discussed the DAO. As commented, we are looking to approve the purchase order for construction to begin, hopefully in May, and hopefully will be finished before the start of school on both 2nd and 3rd floor before September. We also discussed moving the temporary classrooms at Penn Wynne. There was a proposal from the township staff to move as much as we could off the grass field, so we are looking to move it, and I'm going to get my numbers wrong, 24 feet north, 10 feet south, I'm sorry, 10 feet east, excuse me. but hopefully more of the grass field will be preserved by this move. We did discuss permanent construction at Penn Win. As of now, we're looking at two major options with sub-differences. Options 1A through 1C, and I will not go through all the subtleties, are the options. We're looking at 6 classrooms and an auxiliary gymnasium on the southwestern part of the building, which is the existing part of the existing playing field. Options 2A through 2D were all involving demolition of the existing 1949 wing on the northeastern part of the building and replacing it with 6 classrooms and an auxiliary gymnasium. We discussed the Historical Commission is suggesting that any construction on the northeastern part of the building not obstruct the facade facing Haverford Road. Therefore, all options 2A through 2D are pushed away from Haverford Road and onto the existing parking lot on Suffolk, thus losing 6 existing parking spaces. We discussed, to respond to that, we discussed adding a loop along Haverford Road that would add these 7 additional spaces back. The price options for 1A through 1C range from $9.1 million to $9.6, and options 2A through 2D range from $14.9 to $15 million. As Mr. Copeland stated earlier, this is still in conversation mode. We have not decided anything on permanent. The last thing, we received information on a master plan for Arnold Field. It should be published later this week, if not next week. And several issues being addressed include how much Arnold Field is currently being used by our athletic programs, how much the district relies on township parks to fulfill our athletic programs, and the feasibility of having softball and baseball on Arnold Field, in addition to the maintenance and reconstruction of the turf field and the stadium seating that's currently there. We have tentatively scheduled a public meeting on Arnold Field Master Plan for May 3rd, and we'll discuss the plan again in our next Facilities Committee meeting. The next Facilities Committee, I just want to emphasize, no decisions are being made on Arnold Field. This is just receiving information, reading the report. Public comment will be earnestly solicited to learn what we can and cannot do in that plan. Our next meeting is scheduled for May 12th at 8:30 in this room. Thank you.
Under the Business Office and Finance section, I'm going to take items B through E and G in one motion, unless a board member would like me to separate any one. Seeing that there are none, the administration recommends the Board of School Directors approve the list of bills, the financial report for March 2016, receipt of the third quarter student activity reports, accept the donation of a Monarch 6-foot outdoor bench valued at approximately $500 from Penn Valley Elementary Home and School Association in a 2015 fifth grade class to Penn Valley Elementary School, and we thank them for that, and declare the surplus equipment as surplus property and authorize the disposition thereof.
Your questions? Again, with pleasure, we accept or will accept the donation from Penn Valley. Is there a motion to approve? There's second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
The administration recommends the Board of School Directors tentatively adopts the 2016 proposed final school district budget with authorized expenditures totaling $258,934,268 as presented in the attachment. Levies a real estate tax of 27.3963 mils, continues a 1% real estate transfer tax, and 4 continues the $5 local services tax.
There questions? And we're doing roll call? There a motion to approve? Do I need to take, I take a motion in a second, right? Okay, motion to approve?
So moved.
There's second?
Second.
Okay, and now we'll have roll call.
Maureen O'Leary?
Aye.
I'm on the list. Ben Driscoll?
Aye.
Sue Robinson?
Yes.
Virginia Pollard?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. You just going around the horn there? Yes.
Okay, 9 yeses, 0 nos, motion carries.
I just want to know when Denise is
I
coming
was going to
back.
desperately need Denise back.
Okay. Under the facilities and operation, Mr. Driscoll went over all the items, so I'm going to take them all in one motion, unless a board member would like me to separate any. Seeing that there are none. The administration recommends the Board of School Directors approve the following items. Award the bid to the contractors in the attached purchasing report for door security controls at the district office building, classroom renovations, wood laboratory casework, at the district office building, classroom renovations, general construction at the district office building, classroom renovations, the HVAC construction at the district administration building, classroom renovations, the plumbing construction at the district administration office, district administration building, classroom renovations, and the electrical construction at the district administration building, classroom renovations. The BAS systems at the district administration building, classroom renovations, installation of the electrical outlets for block heaters at Harrington High School, and to approve the cell signal at Penn Valley Elementary. Also to approve the lease agreement with Nicholas Cervini at the World Class Soccer School for a soccer camp at Arnold Field from July 5th through July 8th. The administration recommends the board, school director approves the license and service agreements, business associate agreement, and order form number 2 with Accordware LLC for the Ben Express system, and the reimbursement administrative services agreement and business associate agreement with Discovery Benefit Inc., and that is subject to solicitor's review. Approve the Fourth Amendment and restatement of master agreement for professional services between Lowell Marion School District and Barry Isett. Approve the proposal for consulting services from School Bus Consultants LLC for a lump sum of $14,450, and approve the quote for Archive 360 for A2A Barracuda migration software license, maintenance, and support in the amount of $13,500.
Any questions? Their motion to approve?
So moved.
Their second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We will now have the report of the Policy Committee meeting, also by Ms. Robinson.
Thank you, Dr. Van Lynch. The Policy Committee met on April 8th, 2016 in this room at 8:30 a.m. We discussed in great length Policy 259, Gender Expansive and Transgender Students, Ensuring Equity and Non-Discrimination. This policy and AR are seeking to confirm the district's position as it pertains to gender identity and to provide guidelines for parents, staff, for ensuring equity and non-discrimination at all levels of education, as well as with regard to all activities. We discussed how to communicate this policy and AR to teachers, staff, counselors, coaches, parents, and the general community. And it seems that we don't need to do as much as we thought we would, since everyone came out tonight. Additional information will be forthcoming shortly on the communication aspect. Then we discussed policy in AR 354, 454, 554, and 831, maintaining appropriate boundaries. This policy in AR is seeking to clarify appropriate student-staff relations and is modeled after a PSBA recommended policy. We discussed how to communicate this policy in AR to the affected parties, including teachers, staff, coaches, etc. Additional information will be forthcoming about this shortly. And then we discussed Policy 257, Title I and records. Policy 257 is being reviewed pursuant to an annual requirement to do so, but no changes are being recommended. A minor change to AR 800 management is recommended by our solicitor to show that we're holding data for 7 years. Both of these items were recently reviewed in connection with the Title I audit. Our next meeting of the Policy Committee is May 6th at 8:30 a.m. in this room. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. The following policies were reviewed for a first reading. Policy 259, Gender Expansive and Transgender Students, Ensuring Equity and Non-Discrimination, and policies 354, 454, 554, and 831, Maintaining Appropriate Boundaries with Students. Again, these are first readings, so they go through this business meeting as a first read and no board vote. However, next board meeting in May, business board meeting, please, Mr. Russo.
I just wanted to point out to everyone, that it's one policy, it's just going to have 4 separate numbers. I didn't want people to think there were 4 separate policies for the maintaining adult boundaries.
Can you talk about first reading, second reading, why you?
Oh, no, you did a beautiful job.
So we will vote in May on those policies that Ms. Robinson just shared in detail for our May Business Board meeting. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the attached 2017-18 school calendar year. Are there questions? Were there any changes or anything we need to? Oh, we did add for the primary, right?
For the primary.
Okay. All right, whatever date that will be in 17-18. Dr. O'Leary, please.
Yeah, there was talk years past about possibly coordinating with private schools. The spring break in particular? Was there any discussion about that? This was before your time.
No.
Yeah, there is no discussion that I know of. I think, the calendar changes, so unfortunately it's been challenging. But good question, something to consider in the future. We will now have the Communications Committee meeting report by Ms. Ackman. Oh, I'm sorry, my apologies. Moving along here. Any more questions on the calendar? Is there a motion to approve? There's second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now, we will have the Communications Committee report by Ms. Ackman.
Great, thank you. I'm actually reporting on broadly 2 communications and community engagement committee meetings that happened so far this year, one on February 18th at 7 p.m. and one on March 16th at 8:30 a.m. So a large item going on the communications side right now is a plan to update to the district's website. It's recognized as one of the best school websites in the state. But the administration would like to update it. In particular, we're looking to provide more accessible and easier to find information about school events. And we're going to focus a lot on making the website kind of very easy to read on a mobile phone. So as a parent or a student, you could get the information very quickly. We discussed some of the proposals for the website update, and those discussions are ongoing and will result in board approval of one of them. But I think that will prompt a focus group with the community, but that's a big project on the communications front. On the community engagement front, we've kind of had a soft launch of the Community Resource Network. So the purpose of this is really to connect teachers and administrators with resources in the community and vice versa. And we're focusing right now on creating kind of one portal so that we can solicit needs from teachers and administrators within the schools and match them with potential volunteers in the community. And the goal is really to combine this with how a parent would update their information on an annual basis with the district. So lots of planning on that front. We also talked about examples of community engagement with the schools that are happening now that we may want to expand, such as some programs in the Innovation Center, the Girls Leadership Conference, which I also want to say is this Saturday. And there have been partnerships established to support that with Wharton at Penn, Bryn Mawr College, Drexel, and some other schools. And there will be a keynote from the executive director of Emily's Entourage. I have that right, correct? Who's got an incredible story about starting a nonprofit that basically is funding research into a rare disease, which she herself has. So I think it should be a great experience. And I just want to note, as compared to previous years, I think it's been widely publicized. Even the elementary schools are promoting, at least at my elementary school at Kinwood, the Girls Leadership Conference and the HSA newsletters. So I think the word is getting out about what a great experience this is. And there were many other highlights that happened in terms of like accolades and incredible achievements that I think are being communicated out well from the district over the past few weeks. And I guess I'll end with the fact that we are actually meeting on Wednesday night at 7 in this room, and we'll be talking about the website update, the volunteer portal update. We'll actually be getting an update on the strategic plan and how that interacts with community engagement and a few other items. So if you're interested, I encourage you to come out on Wednesday at 7. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Ackman. I will now have the Legislative Committee report. Dr. O'Leary.
Thank you. The Legislative Committee met. We discussed passing a resolution supporting people who are fighting for more state funding for education, and we'll hear more about that in the coming months. But mostly I wanted to mention that on April 27th, 7 p.m. over at the high school, our legislators are going to come and talk to us. Pam DeLisso, Mary Jo Daly, Tim Briggs, and Dalen Leach have all confirmed that they're coming. We have a couple more invitations outstanding, but this will be an opportunity. They'll sort of introduce themselves, say a little bit about who they are. We'll take a couple questions, but then there'll be a significant portion of time where people can speak to them one-on-one or in small groups, however it works out. But you'll get a chance to talk to them about the issues that are important to you. And I just would say that our legislators are extremely supportive of education, and we're very lucky that they are, but they do learn a lot when they talk to parents, talk to teachers, and when they come and visit. So I encourage everyone to come out because they look forward to it, and I think we look forward to it also. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. O'Leary. I will now have the Finance Committee meeting report. Ms. Devonna-Venturo.
Yes, the Finance Committee met on March 16th, and since Vic already did the presentation on the budget, that was the topic was the budget. We had a fairly extensive presentation on the budget and good back and forth with the community members who were in attendance. We also got an overview of the Commonwealth budget, which wasn't much to say at that point. So that's really all we did. Thanks.
Thank you. I will now have audience recognition on non-agenda items or agenda items if you have the pleasure. Anyone interested in speaking? All right. Mr. Roos. Oh, I'm sorry, please sign up with Mr. Orlando and let us know your name and where you reside in district. And there's a 3-minute time limit.
Hi, I'm David Park. I live at 1411 Suffolk Lane. I was here at the special meeting, and at that point in time, I had asked that something be done to try to keep us more in communication with what was happening with the Penguin Elementary School. Again, today, I refreshed the web page that I know of to find information about it, and it has not been updated since January. So unfortunately, I cannot make all of the meetings. I can't make the meeting on Wednesday for communications, or I would bring this up then. So I'm just kind of asking again, could that web page be updated or at least have links on there put to other communications about the project? Thank you.
I'm sorry, where are you looking on the website?
There's a page for Penguin Elementary School.
Okay, so you should also look on the main website, and under the Board of School Directors link, that'll be the most current, and then that information gets fed to Penguin Elementary. So there's more updated information from the meeting that you spoke at previously. Okay, but so thank you very much for the feedback, and we'll make sure it gets transferred as well.
And it's usually done through the facilities meeting. So when you go to Board of School Directors, go to meetings, and then find the facilities meeting, and that's where you'll see the.
So, and we'll make sure to have that conversation and communication. That's excellent feedback, and we appreciate it. So we'll share that with Ms. Ackman and her committee, and we will and Mr. Young, and we'll make sure that that information gets transferred appropriately. So again, thank you for the feedback. Mr. Roos, Sunshine Act. Please.
Cheryl Masterman, Villanova, take 2.
I've spoken publicly before about my 5th grade son and his obesity and lack of movement in the school day. Then I recently was told that he's also having some issues with socializing. And I've known that. He needs practice learning how to socialize appropriately with children his own age. What I'm realizing is that also is an issue with recess, because that's where kids practice these things. The unstructured play in the day is very, very limited, and elementary school age children need that practice. I also found a study that actually says that practice on the playground actually does help with their cognitive abilities. And it's something they refer to as cognitive immaturity hypothesis, where when they practice role-playing and unstructured games out on the recess playground, they actually are increasing their cognitive abilities at the same time. I've been concerned because I've also seen that recess has been used in ways in the schools as a withholding when children don't act appropriately. And usually the children who are acting inappropriately because they need more recess. And then they're told they can't have it. And that to me is child abuse. It's just wrong. Those kids need to get out, move, stretch their legs, get a little break, come back, and be re-energized again and be able to sit down and focus again. And I think that you'll find that they are much better at that. This article I found also does relate to that as well. There's several parents that agree with me, and we've all been chatting, and we've been looking at ways to communicate better with the strategic planning task forces. But I just wanted the board to be aware of it, because I think communication is key, and you don't hear about these things unless we come and make it part of the minutes. So I also was part of the community in the very beginning when we started the brainstorming sessions for our strategic plan, and I see that this fits in very well with the strategic plan in the way it was crafted and the intent that the community had when they were in those brainstorming sessions sometimes gets lost in the wording of the actual plan itself. And I just want people to remember the spirit with which it was intended to be bold and to think outside the box. And it would be a really wonderful thing if Lower Merion could find a way to make recess more of a necessity and more of a part of the school day. So I have these articles, copies for you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now, Mr. Roos.
Thank you. Just announcing the Sunshine Act meetings. I know the agenda lists 4, but I believe there were only 3. April 4th, executive session regarding personnel, information, and strategy relating to labor relations. Monday, April 11th, same thing, as well as a discussion of land development matters. And tonight's March 18th, personnel discussion regarding administration.
Thank you, Mr. Roos. Upcoming meeting dates, April 20th, Communication, 7 p.m. April 27th, Legislative Forum, 7 p.m., Lower Merion High School Library. May 2nd, Curriculum, 8:30 a.m. May 6th, Policy, 8:30 a.m. May 9th, Education Committee and Supplementary Regular Board Meeting, 8 p.m. May 12th, Facilities and Purchasing, 8:30 a.m. And May 16th, Regular Board Meeting, 8 p.m. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you for coming.